Hello, friends. In this lecture, we will try to understand sampling in sociological research. It has been a very important topic if we see last few years previous year questions, and it is also one of the topic which is hard to understand because of lots of theory attached to it. So I will try to simplify it and try to give you example. So first of all, we will try to understand what is sampling. So let's take an example that if we want to know what is the unemployment rate in India, and then there is a 140 crore population, can we conduct a research on all 140 crore people? It's not possible. So to conduct or to find a study for a very large sample, a process of sampling is done. So first of all, you determine or define a population set. Like out of the total group, which samples will be taken. Say, for example, you want to take samples from people who are below 29 years of age. Okay, so you will be defining a population set 15 to 29 years, say, for example. Then you will identify the list or criteria from which the sample will be drawn. Then there will be lots of things like a person is pursuing actively job or not, the person is studying in a university, or person is not having enough education. There will be lots of criteria from which the sample will be drawn. What type of people you want to draw, you will define that type of criteria for it. Then after deciding both the process, like defining the population set, then setting some criteria, then you will choose which type of probability, which type of sampling you want to utilize. It can be probability where each of the members have chance to be selected, or it can be non-probability sampling where there will be a certain predefined criteria. So the first method, which of sampling, which is important for us, is probability sampling methods. As the name suggests, there is chance for each and every individual to get selected. It's not something based on a criteria that they are not trying to have a sampling in which everyone can be selected. Non-probability means declared. Okay, the basic difference is this. And the probability sampling can be of different types. So one by one, we will understand. There can be a predefined criteria, but still, after having criteria also, all the people have chances to qualify for the same. How? Let's understand with all the types of sampling. The first is lottery or simple random. So each unit, say for example, 10 people are there, they will mix it up so that there is no biasness, there is high degree of randomness, and you are choosing two out of them. So it's a completely random process, and that is lottery or simple random sampling. Now the second probability sampling method is systemic random sampling. So in this, what happens is selection is based on a predefined criteria, like every 10th person will be selected or every fifth person will be selected. It is less random and it is easier to execute compared to lottery sampling. The third is stratified sampling. So now what happens is the population is divided into different subgroups. It can be age, religion, caste, gender, anything. So this method reduces sampling error. Sampling error. Why? Because each and every group of people will have some representation, but it is complex to execute. The fourth type is cluster sampling. In this, when listing of population element is impractical, it divides the population into clusters. It can be based on time, temporal, it can be geographical. Geographical means a people of Bihar will be clubbed, people of Tamil Nadu will be clubbed, people of Rajasthan will be clubbed. And it involves multi-stage sampling. While economical, it's less representative and has higher sampling error. Then why it is done? It is done when defining population elements or criteria is impractical or difficult. Then they just cluster the population and take sample out of it. That is why this is something which is not very accurate. It has high sampling error. the people from different strata can be left behind, but it is used when there is difficulty to define the population elements. Now, what are the advantages? So, advantage is that probability sampling has higher accuracy and representativeness because the people have chance to get selected. And the second is it reduces biases and sampling error. Okay. The disadvantage is it is more expensive and it is time consuming process, and there can be issue of non-response. If you arrived at a person to ask something and he is non-responsive, this can be an issue. The second method, non-probability sampling methods, in which the first type is convenience sampling. Sample is drawn from the population closest at hand. So if you have to ask about the condition of women, you just went in your society and asked about the condition of women from 10 women. Used when certain controls are in place to ensure validity. If you say, for example, you go to a slum area and you are not from, you are not born and brought up in that particular area, you may face several challenges. So the validity can be compromised. You do not have any experience. You do not have any kind of a cultural sensitivity about that region. So then what you will do is you will use convenience sampling. Economy can be also an issue that you do not have that much of fund. Second is purposive sampling. So sample characteristics are predefined by the researchers. It can be like only women who are homemakers will be selected. There can be any criteria. And purposive sampling also involves like you can see quota and snowball sampling as a part of purposive sampling only, though they are different, but sometimes the purposive sampling involves quota sampling and snowball sampling both. Now, what is quota sampling? It is completely non-random selection based on quotas, like 40% females should be there, 20% SC should be there, 20% from ST community should be there. So it is faster. It can be done at a very fast rate. It is extremely cheap. However, there can be there is a lack of randomness. No, there can be sampling error as well. It depends. If the researcher has not defined it properly, there can be sampling errors. And snowball sampling, as it suggests, like ball rolls from one place to another. You went into an area, say for example you want to study juvenile delinquent. You will approach one person, then he will give some clue, then you will approach another, then he will give some clue, then you will approach another. Like a ball rolling, you will conduct the research. Okay. So useful for hard to locate populations, like you want to study gangsters, drug addicts, juvenile delinquent. For them, snowball sampling is handy. Now, advantages of non-probability sampling. It is economical compared to the randomness in probability sampling. It is economical. It is very quick compared to probability sampling. It is used for exploratory research. Exploratory means you want to understand the some why about a particular phenomena, and that is why non-probability sampling again will be something which will be utilized more by micro sociologists. Okay. Now the disadvantage is that it cannot claim true representation because it involves the bias of researcher, and there is high risk of bias and the sampling error as well. It depends on how objective the researcher was while defining the criteria. General advantage of sampling is that it makes the research process time efficient in terms of time, money, effort, everything. It makes it efficient and higher accuracy with a representative sampling. If you are not using sampling at all and you just went to Delhi and just asked about secularism, say for example, and then you made it research for India, it is highly inaccurate. You can study large population. Useful in research like PLFS. You need to have a sample. And even if you would have followed this exit polls, they also have sampling methods. Okay, and it is mostly non-probability. That is why it has sampling error as well. It depends on the biases of the agency which is conducting, or the person behind it. Then homogeneity, more feasible for homogeneous population, having different types of different language, different caste people. However, there are limitations, like it can be inaccurate with heterogeneous and frequently changing population. Selection issue can be prone to error biases. There can be sampling errors. There can be also uh, and instances where the sample results significantly differ from population result, like the exit poll. It was an example that the real poll result was entirely different from the exit poll. There can be such issues. If the sample units are not selected properly, sampling errors are inherent. You know, and if you are conducting the research for all 140 crore people, there will not be sampling error. There can be other issues, like enumerator is not properly trained. Then you will collect poor quality data. So this was the whole lecture, and with this you will be able to handle any question from this topic. Take care. Best wishes.